Hi, I am back, Elisa. That's my name. So, yeah, this is my second episode for my podcast. And I think I would kind of like to cover a little bit about being your authentic self, how important it is. And those of us that have come a long way and have awakened and are aware of, the way things were when we were children and how to break those generational curses and all of that, the whole nine. We're aware of our surroundings and people, and some of us are even aware of what's going on with certain folks on the inside. Um, there are times that I can see when somebody has something on them. This did not happen or start happening until sometime last year in 2025. And it was very interesting because it's it didn't freak me out, but I had to take a double take on this one guy at the store. And I looked at him and it was almost like a second face of some kind. Something some there was like two faces that I saw. I saw him, but I saw something else that lied underneath. And I thought, what the hell? And I just kind of looked away and continued doing my own thing. But I looked back again and I could see it again. His eyes were not right. Something about his demeanor, something about his countenance, something just was off. And it's like I said, it just looked like a double face. Sometimes I will see that from people. And if I have to guess, if I have to assume, I would assume that it's probably a malevolent entity or maybe something spiritual or something demonic. I really don't know, but it's very possible that there's something that's on them that I can see. Um, my hearing has, I used to not be able to really hear anything, but my hearing has improved quite a bit. Now I can hear just little things, and I can even sometimes hear voices. I can sometimes, hear those things. Um, there's just a lot that I'm capable of doing. I'm also a dreamer, and the majority of my dreams have always shown me something that I needed to see or made me aware of something that may or may not take place, but just made me aware of particular things. My dreams have always been very profound, but over the last few years, those profound dreams have only increased. And so much so that I was actually confronted not in real life, I'm sorry. I was actually confronted by somebody in a dream. And I don't know who this guy is that I keep seeing in a dream, but he keeps coming to me, or he has at least a handful of times have come to me and given me messages. And I'm thinking, wow, wow, okay, thank you. And I always say thank you for it. Um, yeah, I don't know what else to say about that in particular, but when it comes to toxic parents, when it comes to toxic individuals, don't surround yourself in that toxicity. People like that like to keep you stuck in a box. It's like I think I might have said it in a different video, but because I was trying to make a video earlier and I didn't really care for my rhetoric, so I came back to redo it. Um, I was mentioning something about toxic parents, and both of them were toxic. Both of my parents were toxic in their own type of way. Um, but one thing has always remained sure that I know for a fact it has nothing to do with me, but has everything to do with them. Because they did not get to that precipice in life where they realized that there were inner wounds that have not been healed. They never made it to that point, or they didn't want to look at it, or they just decided to ignore it, or whatever the case is. My dad, I would say that he was an abusive person, not sexually, not physically, not that I'm aware of, but he was abusive to our pets. Not to us, but to the pets that I had or that we had when I was a child. When me and my brother were kids, he had abusive tendencies toward pets. But according to my mom, he was never that way with her, which I am very happy about. I'm very happy to hear about. But he was abusive to her in a different sense of the word, like verbally, emotionally, mentally, sometimes even spiritually. But the thing is that he had a way, it's like he got off on making people feel bad about themselves. And anything to say or do to make you feel bad about yourself. I mean, it was just, he just liked to chip at people. And it's just not a good thing to do. It's not something that you should ever do, especially to your own child. Because when I was a kid, I you know how kids are. You want to be everything. You dream big, right? You dream big. But as we get older, our elders, our parents tell us to be more realistic. They tell us it's, hey, you need to be more realistic. No, you shouldn't be that because of this, that, and the third. All right. No, you can't do that because you have to have this type of training, you have to have this type of skill set, you have to have this type of whatever. No, it's time to break that mentality. And a certain type of mentality can also be considered a generational curse, because a mentality of lack could be a generational curse. A mentality of lack, thinking, oh, I can't afford that. Oh, I'll never be able to afford that. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, I can't do that. But what we got to understand is that capability, that's all a frequency. It's a vibration. It's a frequency. Capability, um, what was it? Abundance and love and happiness and joy and being who we dreamed of being in life, as a child, all of these things, it is attainable. We are told it is not attainable. But we also got to remember that people that told us that it is not attainable are also ones that never did the inner work. I cannot say or I cannot express enough how I see all of this. What a friend of mine that I follow on TikTok, he talks about this a lot. Spiritual fluff. There's a lot of people out there that just cling on to that spiritual fluff, thinking, okay, this is the answer, this is going to save me. Well, here's the thing, if you're not integrating lessons, if you're not looking into yourself, if you're not um, facing yourself, your shadow self, if you're not integrating the shadow, if you're not learning from your mistakes, I mean, I'm sorry, it's not going to save you the way that you think. You may get far. You could very well get far, but understand there's going to be a limitation because you're limiting yourself. And see, a limiting belief can also be a generational curse. Another generational curse could be people pleasing. Another generational curse could be secrecy. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be generational curses. And I believe that a lot of us have figured out certain members in our family and figured out who they really are. And it's okay to not be around them. It's okay to just keep yourself separated from those people because you're doing it for yourself. It's protection. It's your own protection. You need to protect yourself, especially around toxic people. You got to protect yourself because there was a saying at one point, and I don't know if people still remember it or not, but if you give some people an inch, just an inch, they will take a mile with whatever they can get because whatever they can get from you because they are advantageous. Instead of getting it for themselves, instead of doing the inner work like they should, they will go after you first. And once they drain you, they will go after the next person. Drain you of all your resources, of all your confidence, of all of your gifts, of everything, and you're left in the dust. They move on to the next person, doing the exact same thing. If they do it to you, they do it to everybody. You are no exception. You are nobody special or lesser than. They do it to everybody. It's not a problem that lies within you outside of the fact that you yourself are wishing to believe an illusion of the person. Maybe because you're very close to them. Maybe they're a family member. Maybe they're your parents. Maybe they're your spouse. But you at some point have to put up a boundary. Don't let people take advantage of of what you have, of who you are. Because who you are and what you have is meant for you. Don't compete with anybody. Compete with yourself. It's you versus you, not you versus them. It's you versus you. Because when you play that you versus them game, that's an ego trip. That's an ego thing. Don't fall for that bullshit. Don't fall for that rhetoric. Okay, hang on. Okay, sorry about that. I had a filter on or something like that. It was doing some weird stuff to my face, so I just took it off. Anyway, so don't fall for that me versus them or they're competing with me type of mentality. You need to stay in your lane. You need to focus on where you're going. You need to look beyond yourself and see the bigger picture. That's what finding yourself is all about. It's a you versus you battle. You go through the depths of hell, my friend. You go through the depths of hell when you do the inner work because it you're fighting through all of those aspects, all of that trauma, all those aspects that you acquired, that you obtained from your toxic family or a toxic friend group or whoever, whatever it is. You fall in this weird loop. You get stuck in this loop of behavior, of attitude, of way of thinking. And before you know it, you integrate it as a part of you. You just get stuck in that pattern. And although it may initially at first be difficult, it is possible. Speaking from experience, I used to be one of the most selfish people out there. I used to bitch about everything. Everything pissed me off. Everything. I was such a hothead. But I ended up getting a tarot card pulled on me at the time. And they said, "You are not learning your lesson." And follow me into part two.